Hello everyone, welcome to Jazz Bagpipes. My name is David Duncan, and today I'm going to teach you how to play Scotch Soul by Rufus Harley, the world's first jazz bagpiper. In order to follow along with today's lesson, you're going to need to have your bagpipes tuned to the concert pitch of B flat, which means you'll need drone reed extenders, a B flat chanter, and a digital tuner to make sure you're at concert pitch. For a chanter, I like to use my Campbell tunable chanter with a G1 reed. This is the B flat model of the Campbell tunable chanter, and it has a tuning knob right here so you can sharpen or flatten the pitch. I find it really useful for playing with other instruments. For your drones, make sure you have drone reed extenders. It doesn't really matter what kind of drone reeds you play, just so long as you can pitch your drones at 466 Hz, which is B flat. And for digital tuners, I recommend the Pano Tuner app, which is free in the App Store, or wherever you like to purchase your apps. It's a great tuner, it has the Hertz readings, and it also tells you what note is registering within the tuner. Lastly, I recommend you have an electronic practice chanter. I personally like to use this Blair digital chanter, which has an instrument tuned to B flat, so I can practice these jazz tunes at home. So now that we know what we need to follow along, let's talk about the actual song. The song we're going to be learning today is called Scotch Soul by the world's first jazz bagpiper, Rufus Harley Jr. You can see his picture behind me right there on the album cover for his first Atlantic Records album called Bagpipe Blues. This track comes from the second album he released for Atlantic Records in the 1960s. It's the title track of the album. It's called Scotch Soul. It's a basic blues, and it's got a Latin rhythm jazz feel in the rhythm section, so it's a lot of fun to play, and Rufus takes a great solo in this song, so I'm going to be going into all of that later. But now I'm going to play for you The Head from Scotch Soul on the Great Highland Bagpipes. Remember, the head is the main melody of a jazz song. It's a common jazz lingo to refer to the main melody as the head. So here it is, The Head from Scotch Soul by Rufus Harley. So now that we've heard the song, let's talk a little bit about the form. Scotch Soul is a 12-bar blues, which means there's 12 bars in the chorus of the song. A chorus means one time through the melody, otherwise known as the head. So, with this particular blues, we have a 4-bar or 4-measure phrase which is repeated 3 times for a total of 12 bars. So this is something I'd like to dive into a little deeper in a later video, but if you look at the chart here, you can see at the top of each bar is a letter with a number. Now these are called chord symbols, and they basically indicate what chord is being played to support the melody. If you're a supporting instrument, it tells you which chord to play under the soloists, and if you're a soloist, it can also inform you of what notes to choose from as you're improvising your solo. But let's talk a bit about the form of the 12-bar blues. Now the 12-bar blues follows a very specific chord pattern, also known as a progression. This particular song is in the key of A minor, B flat concert, but we're just going to stick with A minor for now because that is what most bagpipers know to refer to the notes as. So we're in A minor. So if we consider A minor the root of the key, the home base basically, if you will, then we'll also call it the 1 chord. So an A in the key of A minor is the 1. Now if you take a look at the chart, you'll see for bars 1 through 4, we are in A. We have A7 over all of those bars, meaning we are on the 1 chord. Now if you jump to measure 5, you'll see that we go to a D. Now if you count from A, B, C, D, you'll notice that you're on the 4th chord of the scale. We call this the 4 chord. It's a very common concept in blues to go to the 4 chord in bar 5, and also in bar 6, as you can see. So in bar 7 and 8, we return to the 1, which is A. Now, if you look at the final line of the sheet, you'll see bar 9 goes to E. Now, if we count up from A, which is our root again, A, B, C, D, E, we'll find that we're on the 5th note of the scale, which means we're on our 5 chord. So 5 chord happens in bar 9, and then back to D for the 4 chord in bar 10, and back to our 1 in bars 11 and 12. So now let's go through the melody a little bit. So in bar 1, we start on a C natural, and then we go down to a low A. In bar 2, we start on a D, and then go back down to a low A. And in bar 3, we start on an E, and then go back to a low A. Now bar 4 is where things get a little different. We do a little walk down to low A, and it starts on D, then goes to C natural, back down to A, to low G, and then ending on low A. And this is the main melody or phrase, if you will, of the song. So let's review that one more time. So bar 1, we have C natural to low A. Bar 2, we have D to low A. Bar 3, we have E to low A. And in bar 4, we have that little walk down phrase, which goes D, C natural, A, low G, back to A. So now that we've discussed the notes, let's talk a little bit about the rhythm. If you look at bar 1, you'll see that the C natural is a dotted quarter note, so that gets held for 1.5 beats. The next note in the bar is an 8th note on low A, which is tied to a half note low A as well. So we have the C natural being held for 1.5 beats, then we have for a half a beat the 8th note on low A for a total of 2 beats so far. The next 2 beats of the bar are in the half note on low A. So that would be bar 1. Now if we look at bar 2, we have the same exact pattern. A dotted quarter note on D, followed by an 8th note on low A, which is tied to a half note on low A as well, for a total of 4 beats. And the pattern is once again repeated in bar 3, although this time starting on E for the beginning note. Now the rhythm does get a little different in bar 4. We have straight 8th notes for that little walk down to a low A, which is a quarter note. And the last 2 8th notes in the bar are basically pickups to go back to the C natural in the next bar. So now that we've discussed the rhythm, let's go ahead and listen to what it sounds like. So I've got my Blair Chanter here, and I'm going to set the metronome to 62 beats per minute, and I'm going to interpret each click as an offbeat, which is a very common method in jazz. So we listen to the metronome click as an offbeat rather than an onbeat. So if we're going to do that, we'll count in. And that is one time through the head of Scotch and Soul. So there you have it. That's how you play Scotch and Soul by Rufus Harley, the world's first jazz bagpiper. I recommend listening to the video a few more times, slowing it down if you want to try to practice the rhythm and the melody a little bit. You can do that on YouTube by slowing the video down to half tempo or by quarter tempo if that's what you prefer. In the next video, we're going to go into Rufus's solo. We're going to analyze it note by note, take a look at some of the techniques that he uses in improvising solos on jazz bagpipes. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, check me out on Patreon, follow me on Instagram. I'm Jazz Bagpipes over there. You can see me play a bunch of jazz standards, and occasionally I do live video feeds where I talk about the tunes as well. That's it. Please make sure you stay tuned. We've got more videos coming up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.